Hi, this is James Ross. I'm the co-founder of HedgeChatter. HedgeChatter is a social media monitoring platform, and what we do is we listen to people that are out into the social space on forums, blog sites, social media, and we're specifically looking for people who are saying buy and sell on both stocks and cryptocurrencies. What we're able to do with this information is basically listen to all the conversations, determine if people are saying that Bitcoin or stocks are a strong buy or strong sell, and then utilize that information to be able to make better trading decisions ahead of everyone else. So imagine you suddenly have the ability to listen to millions upon millions of financial chat messages, and as soon as enough people who have been right or wrong in the past start to move into either a crypto or into a stock, you suddenly have the ability to get an alert, and this alert will show you what's actually happening. So are we having a groundswell of positive sentiment? Are we having a groundswell of negative sentiment? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through real quick kind of what we did with Bitcoin and how we were able to determine hours ahead today before the almost 500 something dollar drop that it took place today. So what I'm on right now is basically a screen. This is what our members have access to every day, and we're providing this as a free service for a limited time so people can actually come and take a look, kind of get a feel and understanding of what we're able to do. If you want to know a little bit about HedgeChatter and what we've done, you can simply hop over to our press page. We formed our company in 2013. We've had a pretty significant amount of media coverage. We have a running segment on TD Ameritrade. I am the co-founder and CEO. I've spoke all over the world about social media analytics, what we've done. We have retail investors and we have quant groups and hedge funds that actually buy our data and use our data to obviously make better trading decisions. It's similar to technical analysis in the degree that we're able to understand basically support and resistance, but it's a little more advanced in the fact that we're listening to people who are talking about what they're going to do, so we're able to gauge that intent. We've even opened the London Stock Exchange twice. Again, there's a lot of good information here if you want to see what we've done over the past couple of years. So let me just jump back into Bitcoin and what happened today. So what we're looking at here is we're looking at pure social chatter volume, then we're looking at sentiment volume. So the primary difference here is chatter volume is how much chatter is going on with Bitcoin. Sentiment volume is how much of those conversations we're able to classify as either a strong buy or strong sell. Then what we're able to do with that is understand exactly how much of this is a positive sentiment, how much of this is a negative sentiment, and then we're also able to understand acceleration in positive sentiment or acceleration in negative sentiment. And again, what we're trying to understand, and we're doing a really good job of, is figuring out how many people believe that Bitcoin's about to move up or how many people believe Bitcoin's about to move down. So here's kind of a little glimpse of what happened. Every night this page refreshes at midnight, so 12 a.m. Eastern time. So what we're able to see here is starting at 12 a.m. Eastern time, positive sentiment was pretty low. And so what we like to do is we like to import in out of all the crypto and out of all the stocks, we like to pull everything in and see who is in this top 100 list. And that's basically what we target for short-term moves. So for chatter volume, sentiment volume, positive sentiment, and acceleration of positive sentiment, we're looking closer to obviously a 1. 1 is going to be a positive number for us because it's going to be either the most talked about or the most strong buy signal or the most acceleration strong buy signal. Likewise, in negative sentiment and acceleration of negative sentiment, we're wanting to see lower numbers because lower numbers tells us that it's not showing up on their radar. But when it starts to approach a number 1 and negative and acceleration negative, that tells us there's a significant amount of downward pressure that is about to be applied. So these are conversations where people are saying, either short, get out of Bitcoin, et cetera, it's going to crash, and we're able to detect that. So just to kind of walk you through, we're looking at 12 a.m. Bitcoin, as you know, has basically relatively been flat for this past week. And so what we're looking at here is, okay, where's the chatter volume? It's a little bit low. We like to see it closer into the top 5, which it normally is. But here, we're seeing it around 18. And what that's kind of telling us is there's interest in Bitcoin, but it's not as much as it had been the previous couple of weeks. Here is where we detected that there was going to be an issue with Bitcoin, and we were able to see this starting at 4 a.m. Eastern time. So between 12 a.m. and 3 a.m. Eastern time, Bitcoin we can see is starting to climb the number in acceleration of negative sentiment, meaning it could be as low as 100, or if it's not even on the chart, you're going to see gray. Gray means it's not even hitting the top 100. However, for acceleration, negative sentiment is actually hitting and it's actually climbing. We do not want this number to go to 1 because that means there's about to be significant downward pressure on Bitcoin. So at 4 a.m., we've obviously moved from a 23, which is yellow, to 20, which is orange. And that's not good because we're getting closer to the color of red, which we don't want. Again, red low on positive sentiment's okay. We would like to see that in green because that would mean there's a lot of people talking about it and they're saying that this would be a strong buy, but that's not the case here. So if you see between 4 a.m. and 7 a.m., it's quickly climbing up the ladder again of accelerating negative sentiment. These are people saying, get out, get out, get out. So Bitcoin you're seeing is now gone from $600 here to now $6,300. So what's happening as it's climbing this, Bitcoin the following hour is dropping. And of course at 8 a.m. Eastern time, Bitcoin hits the top 10 in negative acceleration, which is not good. So here we see that it's at 6,300, 72, 6,348. So you see as this number increases, the price is actually decreasing. So each hour by hour, this is starting to happen until noon today. Bitcoin almost reached number 1 acceleration negative sentiment, and it dropped down to $61.83. The good news is at 1 p.m., negative acceleration dropped. So here in this layer, what we're looking at is negative sentiment. So these are people just saying that there's a problem with Bitcoin, they're concerned, should you short, should you get out, etc. And what's happened is the negative sentiment is staying resonant with everyone, but there's not a massive amount of people moving to it. They're now just simply talking about it as in just having a conversation versus screaming get out, which we were seeing before. And at this point, you can see the price is starting to stabilize a bit. Also, at the same time, if you look at positive sentiment, so positive sentiment is listed at 40, a ranking of a 43, then 41, 41, dropping to 44, 45. So what's happening here is the amount of people that are saying something good about Bitcoin is rapidly starting to drop off, and then it completely drops off at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So then the conversations have been about basically what is the fate of Bitcoin, etc., etc. So again, this is just kind of a quick overview to show you what's happening. We have Bitcoin in chatter volume and overall sentiment volume. They're still high, meaning there are people talking about it and there are people saying buy or sell. But when we look, what we're seeing is they're basically saying sell. So Bitcoin has hit at 2 p.m. hit number 1. And what you could see is that there is no positive chatter here. So in other words, we're not getting any positive sentiment, nor are we getting an acceleration of positive sentiment. We're not getting anything. We're simply getting people talking about it, and we're getting a lot of implied sentiment, and that sentiment is negative. And because of that, because of the way it's dropping off, and with conversations here as well, you can see that the price is quickly coming down. So again, that's just kind of a short overview on what we do with Bitcoin. There are other really cool things that we can do on our membership site. In fact, we're the only platform that actually detects manipulation. So I'll just kind of roll you by this really quick. So for instance, AXON, if you're in stocks, this is pretty interesting. We have a manipulation index that shows us actually how much of the chat messages are fake versus valid. So in other words, if you have a significant amount of fake PR, fake news that's being pumped out, we'll see these things trigger an upside momentum. That tells us a lot of people believe in it. But then what we want to do is look and say, okay, out of all those people believe in it, how many are robots? How many are fake accounts that have been created and they're doing the pump and dump? And what we see here is 66%. So this was actually something we did trade on. We shorted it around 520, 530, and then if you look at price today close, it's at 1241, and I think after hours it's dropped down to 230. So again, pretty significant, and now we see that there's a red downside risk alert. Likewise, same for another one we've been watching, GEVO. If you recall, this one popped up earlier in the week to 1950. Actually, I think it's where it closed, but then it went up to, I think, 2250, and it's now down to 843. That's a pretty significant drop. So how do we know this was a short opportunity? Once again, we see that there's a significant amount of upside momentum alerts being generated. In other words, the majority of people are saying this is going to do really good, and as we say in the crypto world, to the moon. However, what we found is that all of this, again, 58% of those messages are all fake manipulation. So what we understand is this is being pumped and dumped. 58% is a sweet spot. That's telling us when we see this much fake news, fake social being pushed out, and we're getting this, we know that there's typically going to be a 10 to 20, sometimes a 30% drop on the security within the next anywhere from 5 to 7 trading days. Here it dropped a little bit harder. I mean, $22 to now $8.43. So anyway, that's a little bit what we do. We're incorporating cryptos into the platform now. We have quite a few, but we're about to add the remainder of those. But again, if you want to see this, you simply can come back here and check in on what's happening with Bitcoin, because we all know that Bitcoin, a lot of the other altcoins are pegged to Bitcoin. So you can come here, headshatter.com/Bitcoin. Thank you very much.